Well, thank you all for coming today to our annual report walkthrough. We have went through the annual report issued by the Office of Commonwealth Libraries and compiled a set of report templates for you to use to help with your reporting for ILS data. So this means count of items, count of circulation, and so forth, count of patrons. So we'll go through each template, and I have run them. So they look pretty good to me. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat, or you can unmute. We are recording, so if you don't want to be on camera, make sure your camera is off. And we'll have time at the end, also unrecorded question time too. So, because I know not everyone wants to be on YouTube. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna share my screen. And I am also gonna turn off my camera just to make it easier. Okay. Rearrange all of my screens and we'll get started. Okay, so for those of you who are new to reporting or have not yet had the joy of running the annual report, I hope this helps. First is your staff account will need to have the report, at least the report's admin or report runner permissions. If you don't have those, you won't be able to see these screens just yet. But you can either, if you are a staff member, request permissions to run them from your director. And we just have a little form they fill out. And we issue the permissions after you've reviewed the privacy waiver. So first things first, if you're navigating to the report screen and you're not seeing anything, chances are the account that you're logged in with doesn't have reports permissions. So if you run into that, please let us know and we can get you all sorted. All of our report templates for the annual report are in a shared folder called Annual Report, and you'll find them under shared folders. If you click on the template dropdown, all the names are now in alphabetical order, and so it'll be the second one in the list. I'm logged in with that account, so I'm not going to see it in that order, but you will. And then each of our templates are shared and set in a year. So currently you'll only see the 2025 folder. And if you click on these little down arrows, it will expand the file folder. So you'll see each report question has its own subfolder. And then there in each subfolder are a variety of options for your choice. Some of it depends on how you catalog items. If your library is set where the owning library and the circulating library in the item record are the same, or if some library systems where the system owns everything and then your library is the circulating library. If you have questions about that, you'll want to talk to your cataloger, or you can reach out to us and we can try and troubleshoot how you have things sorted out. So let's get started with the first one, which is E1, number of items in the library's catalog as of December 31st, 2025. So you'll see in this one, I have set by circulating library and set by owning library. If you're not sure how your library is set up, 90% of the libraries in our installation of Evergreen use by owning library. You can use circulating. There's no real big difference. So I'm going to run it. And what you'll want to do is you'll first want to clone the template. Some people go through and clone all of the templates and then run the reports, or they clone it and run it at the same time. So as they go through. So it's up to you how you want to do it. We'll clone the first couple and I'll show you how it's done. So you'll select which template you want to use. And you will, from the actions menu, you'll want to do clone template. And this screen will load. Yours might not be as long. I have a lot of folders, so it just depends on how you have yours set up. And you'll select the folder that you want to put your template in. Some people have a template within or a folder within their own template folder. And they name it, annual report or however you want to name it. You can do it whatever way you like. So I'm just going to put it in here for right now. And you'll see that this menu option kind of collapses and then it gives me the template. You don't have to change anything on this. You can just hit save and it will save the template for you to run. So if you wanted to look at it, you'll see that the name is here. There is a link to the documentation. So if we wanted to go to that, I'm just going to paste it in here. And it'll take you to step-by-step instructions on how to run it, and then how to view it. So we have documentation for each template. And we also have a link to how to clone as well. So I'm going to hit close because I already have a copy. And in my folders, I'll see here the templates that I want to run. So that's cloning. If, say, you don't have these little caret, I'm going to call them menu options, that means that you don't have any folders and you're going to have to create one to save your template in. So you can do that by clicking, or if you want to create a new one, click on the top level, so templates, and you're going to hit add top level folder, and you can name it whatever you'd like. And then the caret should then appear and then provide you that option for cloning. So again, once you have your folder set up, you can go down to the shared templates, look for the account called annual report, and clone the template that you need. So we're going to start with E1, and we're going to run it on owning library. So I've made my clone, and I'm going to do actions, new report. And you'll see that some of the things are filled in for me. You can change the name of the report if you'd like in this box here. You can put more description in here if you would like. You could put in when you ran it, how you ran it, what options you selected. It's really up to you. And then over here, it gives you the template information. In the description, if you just drag down the box a little, it'll expand and should give you how to run it. So it'll say to run. You're going to want to look for that. And in this instance, it just says select the owning library. How do you know if you've cloned the report? The clone report will always be in your template folders. If you are going down, let me step back. If you are navigating down into the shared folders and selecting something from here, selecting something from one of the folders down on the lower half of the screen and doing new report, you have not cloned it. You've only found the template and selected it to run the report. If it's in the My Folder section, it's definitely cloned. Does that help, Tanya? Okay. Well, let me walk through this one and I'll do the report again, or the cloning again. So we have it, and I'm going to hit new report to get us back. So again, this one I only have to pick owning library, and I have pre-run some of these. It will say cloned at the end. Mine doesn't, because I didn't clone it from this folder, but it'll say clone. at the end. Yes. Okay. Um, so in this instance, the owning library is the field that we need to answer. So in this one, I am going to select Milton. All the libraries are in individual systems. So if you are a single location, you don't want to click on Milton, say, you want to expand the dropdown and select Milton Public Library, or say Nazareth and you want to pick Memorial, because nothing is usually owned here at this top level. It's always an individual location. There's nothing wrong with selecting both, but if you only select the top layer, you're not going to get anything, and that's not great. So the other questions, is it deleted and creation date, are already answered for you, so you don't have to do any of that. You can select the next option, and you're going to see a couple options. You have your output formats. So if you like to download the output, you can check the box for Excel, CSV, HTML. I like to do all three, but you can choose whatever you'd like. You're going to pick your folder it's going to stay in, and you're going to put your output it's going to be saved in. The report won't run unless you've selected an option. And then you can run it now, or you can schedule it for later. We're going to run it now. And then if you want it to get the email with the link, you can put in your email address. I'm not going to have it emailed to me, but you can. You'll hit save and schedule a report. And then once you click that, it'll say successfully saved. Unless you've missed an option to an answer or a question. So let's say we forgot to pick a library. It will let me know filters are missing required values. So I have to go back to the filters tab and make sure I've picked something for each of the menu options. I'm going to do next, and I'm going to save and schedule the report. Now, since I already set this one up to run, we'll take a look at the output. I'm going to hit cancel, but you don't want to hit cancel. You want to hit save and schedule. All right. So you can either wait for your email to arrive, and then you go to training folder. Or that's what I named my folder. Whatever you named your folder is up to you. So I'm going to look for my report. That was E1. And this is where that HTML option comes in handy. If you have selected that as your output, it will just open in the browser window and give you the number. So I ran it for Milton, and this is the count of the items as of December 31st. So this will be the answer to E1 for the annual report for Milton. You can also download it as the CSV, or you can look at the Excel if you want. You'll see later on that some of them probably would benefit from looking at it in Excel. And then there is also the external template documentation again, giving you a rundown of what your info generally should, how to access it. So that's E1. Are there any questions on E1? It's a pretty basic one. It's just how much stuff do you own as of the end of the year? Okay. I don't see anything in the chat, and don't see anyone who has unmuted. Okay. So E2 is the number of print materials. So again, we're going to look down in our shared folders under the templates for the annual report login. And we're going to go to the 2025 documentation, always clicking the caret to expand the file, the folder, and I'm going to go to E2. This one is also separated by circulating and owning library. So I also ran this one on Milton. So let's take a look. They're a single location, so all of their things will be owned by them. So here we have our theoretical. We're going to clone it. We're going to pick our folder that we're going to save it in. And then we're going to hit save. And like Tanya had reminded me, it does say clone at the end to confirm that you've cloned it. Again, you don't have to edit anything. You can just hit save and it will save and close the template. And then you'll navigate to My Folders, the folder you saved your clone in, and go to the template that you have cloned. So to run it, we're going to do Actions, New Report. Again, you can name it whatever you'd like up here in the title. It'll have a link to the documentation again if you wanted to open it. And then over here on the description tab, it will give you instructions on how to run it. So we're going to select our owning library or libraries. So in this one, in my sample, I ran it for Milton again. And then you'll see select your print collection modifiers. So examples are book, high demand book, book kit, reference, government docs, non-circulating things, such, and so forth. And then I tried to put those reminders here as well on the left. So you'll just go through the list and pick all of the items or the circulation modifiers that relate to your physical print materials. See, high demand books. And I think we're skipping. I want to say we skip serials. Yes, excluding magazines and periodicals. So I'm not going to pick the serial modifier. So if you use government docs, you can put that in there. I know government docs comes in a variety of formats, so you'll want to evaluate that with your cataloger. Non-circulating is usually your reference materials. So those tend to be the ones that are print materials. And then the year is already selected for you. You'll select next. You'll select your outputs. Again, making that HTML output will be helpful. So you can just preview it if you don't want to download it. You'll select your folders where the items will be saved. And then you'll run it now. You'll hit save and schedule, and it should be good to go. Oh, I have a duplicate name. So if I run it multiple times with the same name, you can just go up to the top and add a variation on the name. Take that email out. All right, report successfully saved. So now I'm going to wait for my email, or in this case, I'm going to look for my E2 example. And I see the HTML here, and it is going to let me know that the Milton Library had 18,000 books, 2 high demand, 46 kits, and then there's one with no circ mod. And what that means is you have something in your catalog that doesn't have a circulation modifier, so it doesn't know how to count it. So if you find that you have a lot of these, please let us know. We will help you identify those individual items so that you can update them and get a more accurate account for your library. Most libraries have less than, say, 60 items in their entire collection that are missing a circulation modifier. So one is actually really impressive. So good job, Milton. All right, so that's E2. Any questions on question E2? Number of print materials. Okay. Is the cloning process clear and how you find things? Okay, I'm gonna take silence as a affirmative. Okay. The next question is number of current periodical titles. So this one you can use Evergreen if you catalog your magazines. Uh, and it is subscriptions. It's not quantity of holdings you want to look at. So this will be an interesting one. So again, when you're ready, you're going to go to shared folders and you'll look for the annual report username and you'll go into their templates and you'll look for number of current print periodical titles and you want the subscriptions. So if you use another service to purchase and acquire your print periodicals, say like an EBSCO or something like that, you'll have an easier time probably getting current subscription titles from there. But if you don't, that's fine. You can use, and you catalog the titles, you can use this report. So I ran this one for the Nazareth Library in my example, so let's do that. So we're going to clone it to our own folders. So we're going to pick our folder and I just have to hit save. I don't have to change anything here. And then I'm going to go up to my folders and the folder I saved it to run it. And we're going to do owning library for this one. And under the actions, after I've checked the box next to the title, I'm going to do new report. Again, this is a lot of these are filled in. And in this one, I'm going to scroll down in my template description and it just says select owning library or libraries. I think in my example, I ran it on the Nazareth Library. So I'm going to check both. Again, this under level 1 is the more important one, but sometimes things get cataloged incorrectly. So it doesn't hurt. So we're going to hit next. And it is going to give us our format options for our output. I'm going to do Excel, CSV, and HTML. I'm going to pick my folder where everything is going to be saved. You'll see those menus collapse once you've selected something. And you can put in multiple email addresses or just one. If you're putting in multiple, just make sure you separate them with the comma. I'm going to run it now. Oh, duplicate name again. Okay. Going to adjust the name and report saved successfully. So now I'm waiting for that email if I left my email address in there. Or I'm going to go to the folder where I saved it for the output. And I'm looking for current periodical titles. So I'm going to hit the HTML to see the preview. And so this is a list of all the titles that have been cataloged. You'll notice that there's not a count of items because we just need the names because we want to know how many items or how many subscriptions you have. So you may still have holdings that are still in here from other years. So you'll want to make sure this is kind of more of a starting off place. You'll look through this list and confirm that you still have subscriptions to these. So like maybe you don't have Real Simple anymore. You wouldn't count that. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's E3. All right, so now we're going to get into the more nitty-gritty ones, which the next one is E4, which is the number of audio. So again, you'll go down to the shared folders and you'll find the username annual report, and you'll click next to their name to expand the folder. And you'll look for the 2025 with documentation links. You're clicking that down arrow to expand it, and you'll navigate to number of audio. So this one again is circulating versus owning library. This again depends on how you catalog things. I did this one for the Eastern Monroe libraries. So we're going to do owning, and we're going to clone it. And you'll select your folder where you want your templates to save. Again, it will show you the whole meat and potatoes of the template. You can just hit save. You don't have to edit anything. And when you're ready to run it, it will be under My Folders. And then again, expanding your templates folder and looking for the folder you saved it in. When you're ready to run it, you'll check the box, select Actions, and then New Report. And you'll put in the name, and you'll select your library. So we're going to do the Eastern Monroe Library, and they are in the Monroe County Libraries, and they have a couple locations. So I'm going to check the box for each of those locations. And if I scroll down, I'm going to get the instruction that I need to select the audio circulation modifiers that you use for your library. So that usually means audiobook, high demand audiobook, and then music or media or both. Music originally was intended for sheet music, like actual sheet music, and media was intended for musical CDs. Some libraries use one or the other, and some libraries use both, just depending on who was cataloging that day. So you want to confer with your cataloger and make sure that you're using the correct one. I'm going to pick both just to be on the safe side, and I'm going to hit next. And then I'll pick my folder that they're going to live in. And again, don't forget to select your formats. Since I am running it for a couple different libraries, you'll see in my instructions, it'll say choose. You can choose a pivot label info if you want it to create a pivot table for you. And it'll say select the owning library as the pivot label column, and then the data is number of items. So this way the names of the libraries will appear across the top, and but if I'd rather, and then the circulation modifiers will be down the left. You can also flip it where you have the modifier across the top and then the libraries on the left. It's just a matter of preference. So I make sure I have all of my elements, I have my formats, I have everything saved in a folder, and I'm gonna check run now and hit save and schedule. So my report was successful, and now I'm just waiting for the output to be delivered either via email, or I'm gonna look in my folder where I saved it. This was E4. Yes, so E4, number of audio, and I've already run this ahead of time. So I'm going to hit HTML, and I'm going to see that the libraries are across the top in this pivot table, and then the formats are down on the left. So, and then the totals. And then again, if there is a column or row that is blank and has numbers, that means that your library has a few things that are missing a circulation modifier. So it's including it in here because it doesn't know how to count it. So again, if you want to correct those cataloging, just let us know. We have a report template for it, and it'll help you not only update your numbers for things, but it also makes sure that those items are checking out the way you want them to, getting the correct loan period and everything. Again, you can always well, in this case, I only selected CSV when I ran it, but you can download your output if you want to save it. The outputs for these reports and all other reports only save for 60 days in your output folder. So if there's something that you need to save for a long time, it's better to download it and save it on your computer or a shared drive or a thumb drive or something. So that was E4. Are there any questions? Okay. All right. The next one is 5, E5. So again, you're going to go down to the shared folders and look for annual report. And you'll select the little drop down next to their name and look for the folder that says 2025. You might need to expand it. And you're going to do number of video. Again, this one, since it's the number of the collections, it's going to be broken down either to by owning library or by circulating library. And I did this one on a single location again. So I am going to clone the owning. So actions, excuse me, you'll select it and then select actions and you're going to clone the template. You'll pick your folder that you're going to save it to. And again, you can just hit save. You don't have to edit anything. And then when you're ready to run it, you'll go to My Folders, the folder you saved the template to, and check the box next to it to select it. And then from the Actions menu, you will run the report. Again, you can name it whatever you want. And you're going to select your library. So I think I ran this one on the Degenstein library. So again, you don't have to pick that top level, but you definitely want to pick this lower level. And then this one is reminding you that these are video. So you're going to pick DVD, DVD nonfiction, DVD R. If you don't normally use these, it's a good practice to select all of them just in case on the off chance somebody cataloged and picked the wrong option. So, and then, so high demand DVD, Blu-ray, high demand DVD R, and then don't forget video, because sometimes people use video. Some people still have VHS, and that's kind of where they get stored. So make sure, spot check and make sure you have all the ones you wanted. And you'll hit next. You'll select your formats, your folders. And if you want to spot check up here in the instructions, again, you can scroll or drag down. And you can also use a pivot label on table on this one. So you can have owning libraries across the top and the number of items. I think I ran this for one library, so I won't really have a pivot table, but if you're running it for multiple libraries, you can. I'm just going to take my email address out of there. But if you, again, want to get it emailed to you, make sure you have an address in there. And when you're ready, you'll just hit save and schedule. This is another duplicate. Run it. So I just adjusted the name. And then I'm going to go to my folders. And either that or wait for my email to arrive. And I am looking for number E5, number of videos. I'm going to hit the HTML output and I'll see that the Dagenstein library has 4,671 DVDs, 71 nonfiction, 3 DVD, Blu-ray, and then 57 items without a circulation modifier. So if you have any questions on that one, let me know. Give everybody a minute. All right, the next one is number of other physical material. So again, you'll go down to the shared folders and look for annual reports. And you'll click the little arrow next to their name and look for their subfolder 2025 with linked documentation links. And the folder is called E6, number of physical items. Again, since it's the collection info, it's either separated by owning and circulating library. So let me see, what did I run? Oh, I ran this one on Burke for Burks. So I'm gonna do owning. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to say actions and I'm going to clone the template. And I am going to pick my folder that I'm going to save everything into. Again, I don't have to change anything, just save it. And then when I'm ready to run it, I'm going to go to my folders, templates, and then the folder I saved it in. Next. And I'm going to check the box next to the template I want to run. And going on the actions menu, select new report. So I ran this one for a larger system. Let's see, the Berks libraries have quite a few locations. And something I have noticed when running reports is if you have a lot of locations that you want to look for numbers on, say you wanted to select all of these, you can go up to the top level and hold down the shift key and click the box next to the name, and it'll select all the ones underneath it, but it won't select Blair or anything. It'll stop at the bottom of the list. So again, I just hold down the shift key on my keyboard and checked the box at the system level, and then it picks all of the locations in it. That's kind of handy. And then if you say you needed to like take one location out, you could. So say you didn't need racks numbers, you could uncheck that, and it's not as many clicks. All right, so and then I have my instruction box over here letting me know that I have to select the circulation modifiers for quote unquote other. These tend to be items that are not in the previously run reports. So they're not videos, they're not books, they're not anything like that. And you'll see we have some instructions here. If you want a fuller description on what constitute as other physical materials, you can click on the documentation link. And it'll give you a full description as it is stated in the annual report. So these are circulating items like gaming consoles, tools, laptops, tablets, wireless hotspots, cookingware, garden tools, etc. So kind of like your library of things. All right, so I'm going to pick my owning library. Picked everybody here. And so I am going to pick electronic device, equipment. Depending how you catalog things, sometimes kits are within this area, and then also realia and software. Just checking my list. Yep, so it depends on how you use kit and realia. Puzzles, that would also count as an other item. It's not a traditional, quote unquote, traditional print item or DVD or audio format. So whichever circulation modifier your library uses for puzzles, you would select it from this list. Okay, yep, so you'll use Kit. Yeah, Kit and Reality tend to be like the catch-all for a lot of things. So sometimes it's puzzles, sometimes it's cake pans, sometimes it's plumbing tools. It could be any number of things. We're going to hit next. And you're going to pick your formats and your report folders. Let me take my email address out of there. Again, you can look at the instructions to see if there are any special instructions. We've selected our owning library and we've selected our modifiers. And then this kind of gives you the info on the pivot tables. So I'm going to do owning libraries across the top and the modifiers on the left. I may regret that with a list of libraries this long, but we'll see. So you could always flip it though. If you run it one time and you're like, oh, this is hard to read, you can always rerun it and put the circ modifiers across the top and the owning libraries down the side. So you're going to save and schedule your report, and it's a duplicate title. My apologies. I'll hit save. There we go. So we wait for it to arrive in our email, or we can jump ahead in time. When it's done, look in our output folders. And this is the number of physical items by owning library. All of your completed reports, I'll note, will be under this complete tab. If there's anything under pending, like up here, that means it's still running. And since it's annual report season, you may have to wait a few minutes for something to run. So we're going to hit HTML. Oh, and this is the one where I wish I did it the other way. So we have all of our circulation modifiers running down the left and then the libraries across the top. In hindsight, I would have done the modifiers across the top and the libraries down the side. So there are the numbers for that. Any questions about your number of other physical items? Give it a minute. All right, now we move on to transactions and people. So the F questions. So we're going to go to the shared folders and we're going to go to templates and we're going to look for the username annual report. We're going to check the little down arrow next to their name. And we're going to find the folder that says 2025 with documentation links. We're going to go down to F1 registered users as of December 31st, 2025. There's only one option in this one. So you just have to check the box and hit Actions, Clone Template, and then you're going to select the folder that it has to be stored in. Again, you don't have to change anything. You can just hit Save. And then when you're ready to run it, you're going to go to My Folders and then find the folder that you saved it in. Remember, don't forget to hit the little arrow next to templates and the folder that you saved it in. And you're going to check the box and you're going to select the new report from the options menu. Now this one, I'm just going to go over the instructions. So this one is it's going to give you patrons who are not deleted, not barred, like that box in their account for barred is not checked. They're not marked inactive, so the box for active is not unchecked. And their privilege expiration date is 2023 and later, so into the future. The annual report documentation has indicated that it wants accounts 3 years and later. It's also indicated that it wanted traditional patrons. It doesn't want ILL accounts in there. So we've gone ahead and selected all the permission groups that apply for this question. So all you have to do is select your library. So you'll see it's saying is deleted and it says false. Are they barred? False. Are they active? True. And then you select your library, which I think I selected a system in this one. So again, you can hold down your shift key and click the top level and it'll select all the individual levels or locations underneath. You'll see that all of the permission groups are already selected. Even if you don't traditionally use some of these, it's fine to run it on the report because then it'll include them. And it'll also catch anybody who potentially may have been assigned a permission group in error. And then it's going to give you the accounts that have a privilege expiration date of 2023 or greater. Well, greater than or equal to 2023. So we're going to hit next. Again, if you're running it on multiple libraries, you can do your pivot table, your user ID if you want. Since there's only two options, it's not going to be a fancy pivot table. You'll select your folders. You'll select your outputs. I like Excel for this one, in case you want to download it. And then I'm going to take out my email because I don't need to be emailed about this. But you may want to, so make sure you include that. So I'm going to remember to change the name. And I'm going to schedule and save my report. So then I just wait for it to finish, either via email or in my folders. Sorry, wrong folder. And I am looking for registered users as of December 31st. So I'm going to hit HTML, and then I'll get the raw counts and the libraries. Pretty clear, or pretty simple. If you ever have any questions about these numbers, please let us know. We have the script that deletes people after 5 years. So it will be filtering out, this report will filter out those people and then anybody that who has expired before 2023. So any questions on that one? I'm gonna close that one out. The next one, I'm gonna go in numerical order, not display order. I'm gonna go to F3 next. So again, when you log in, you'll go to shared folders, click the arrow under templates to get the list of users. I'm going to find the one that says annual report, and I'm going to click the little arrow next to it to expand it. And I'm going to look for the subfolder that says 2025 with documentation links. And I'm going to look for the one that says F3, circulation of physical books, physical audio units, physical video, and physical periodicals. So last year we had a lot of questions and people needed the workstation name included in there for their report. So I added that. And then other people wanted call numbers as well so that they can look for specific items or make sure they didn't include specific call numbers. So you have a couple options here depending on how you want to run it. Most people use this middle one that's just circulation of physical books, audio units, physical video units, and periodicals. Again, in the description, we try and put as much directions as possible. So it reminds you to not include things that are considered other physical media types, such as Wi-Fi hotspots, those library of things, materials, puzzles, stuff like that, and not to include items that you've checked out to another library, so your interlibrary loans. So all you have to do is check your library for the checkout library and then some circulation modifiers. So I'm going to first clone it. So I've selected the template I want to use. I'm going to select actions and then clone template. And then I'm going to pick my folder and I'm just going to hit save. And then when I'm ready to run it, I'm going to look under my folders, templates, and click that little caret arrow. And I'm going to go to the folder where I saved it. I ran this one by call number for some reason. I think just to give you a variation for an example. So I'm going to do actions, new report, and I'm going to again look for my checkout library. So I ran this one on Pike, which is in the Wayne group. And then again, selecting our modifiers. So audiobook, book, book club kit, DVD, DVD nonfiction, DVD R. I'm going to skip electronic device and equipment. I'm going to do government docs. I'm going to do high demand options. I'm going to do ILL in this case because this is physical items that I have loaned, that I've received from another library and given to a patron. So this is not things that I have loaned to another library. I'm skipping Kit because I say my library uses Kit for its other items. I'm going to do media, music, non-circulating is reference, and serial and video. And then we went through and selected all of the circulation modifiers that you would be checking these items out to. So this does not count anything that staff have checked out. So I'm going to do next. Again, you can set up your pivot tables if you want. And this one's a little bit messy, so we're not going to do pivot tables on this one. But I'm going to do my formats in my folders that they need to be saved to. And I'm going to hit save and run. Okay. So when it's done, I've gotten my email. E3 I'm looking for. So here it is, E3. And it has with call numbers. So this is going to give you literally everything you've checked out by call number. And then you have to kind of have, this one is a good one to download and put into Excel and then have it do the math. The only reason you would need to do it by call number is maybe, I'm trying to think of a reason. Maybe you share a circulation modifier, like Kit. Maybe you use Kit for multiple things. Like you use it for puzzles, but you also use it for something else that's also physical, like a book kit, like in the children's section where it's the audio book and the print book. I don't know if they still have those. I think I'm aging myself. But when I worked in a children's library, we had like the audio CD and the physical print edition. And so those were cataloged as using the circulation modifier kit. And so in that instance, we wanted to break out puzzles who are also using Kit. So that could be a reason why you would want to do it by call number. Does that make sense? Or does anyone have any questions about F3? If you run it without like the plain one, if you just run this second one, it'll just give you a number. It won't give you like each call number. So and that said, if you want any variation on any of these templates, please let us know. We can modify them to meet your cataloging needs. Okay, let's go to F4, which is everything else. So all of your hotspots, your board games, things like that. So again, you'll go to shared templates or folders to get the templates, and then you'll look for the username annual report, and you'll look for the folder that says 2025 with documentation links, and then the subfolder F4. Again, this one also has call number, workstation, and just the plain one. So let's run the plain one. So I'm going to do actions, and I'm going to clone the template, and then you pick the folder that it's going to be saved to, and you can hit save. And then when you're ready to run the report, if you're cloning these all ahead of time, you'll go to My Folders, and then the folder that you saved it to, and check the box next to the one that you've selected. And under Actions, you'll do New Report. I'm just going to change the name slightly. And it's going to, in the instructions, again, remind me, don't include things you've checked out to other libraries. And then make sure you pick things for your other physical items. So your electronic devices, your equipment, your kits, if you use it exclusively for just non other quote unquote other things, Realia software, etc. So for this one, I ran it on a larger system. I did Blair. Again, I held down the Shift key and then clicked on the Blair name, and it selected all of the folders below it, or the locations below it. And then I'm going to pick for the circulation modifiers. It gives you this reminder over here. What about grade courses where there are DVDs and sometimes a booklet? It depends on how you cataloged it. If you use the circulation modifier of kit, you would include it in the, okay, yeah, so kit would be one of those instances where the great courses stuff counts towards your F3 number, but your puzzles, which also use kit, counts towards your F4 number. So you'll probably want to run it on the call number with the call number info on there so that you can filter those out. Or we could do a shelving location if you want. It depends on how you have them cataloged in Evergreen. We'd be happy to adjust the template for you if you need more info in the output or less info. Okay, thanks. So for this one, we're going to select electronic device equipment because we're looking for those things that are other. At this library, I think they use Kit for some of their other things, Realia, and then software. And then we've already pre-selected the permission groups. So I'm going to do pivot table on. Oh, I don't think I need to. This is checkout. So we're going to select our formats. We're going to select our folders for everything to be saved into. Where you put your email address in there and then save and schedule. So then when it arrives, we're going to look for that folder number, and this is F4, circulation of other physical items. And I did this as a pivot table for some reason, but here are the numbers of those items. So it's a total circulation. And this would be how your other one would run, or your F3 would run if you just selected the stock circulation number rather than having it break it out into individual rows for each call number like this one did. Any questions on F4? Okay. The next three are probably the trickiest. And that's not to scare you. I just want to give you a heads up. It'll require you to do a little math. So we're going to go to F13, which is circulation of children's physical materials during the reporting period. And so you're going to go down to the share folders to find the template. Under templates, you're going to look for the annual report user, and you're going to press that little down arrow to expand their folder and look for the one that says 2025 with documentation links. And you're going to look for the subfolder that says F13. Now there are 5 choices on this one because this one, it depends on how you loan material and also how you, if you are a single library and you do not resource share with anybody, you can use this the one number 4 here, circulation of children's physical materials, including for the reporting year, included by shelving location. So this is for if you don't resource share with anyone, you have your own materials. And this will allow you to pick just the shelving locations that you are using for children's material. So like your JuvieZ shelving location or your children's area shelving location. It'll just give you the circulation of the material on those shelves. If you resource share, there's this one here, number 3, it gives you all of the info and for every item that you've checked out this year in 2025, and it'll give you the call number and the shelving location for those items. And then that way you can use Excel to filter to just shelving locations for children's materials or call numbers that are just children's materials. But since you are looking at, and you resource share, so it's not going to let you pick shelving locations for other libraries. So it's going to give you a lot of info and you'll download it in Excel and I'll put it that way. There's also by workstations, because someone had requested that last year. That's for a non-resource sharing one. And then the one above it is if, say, you have some shelving locations where you maybe have just your DVDs all in one, but you have some children's material and adult material or teen material, and you can look at the call number and distinguish, okay, these are the juvenile or like 12 and below, and then these are not teen items. So 2, 3, 4, and 5 are kind of like what we had last year. I'll talk about the first one in a minute. So say you are in a resource sharing agreement. So I'm going to pick number 13 or number 3, 13, and I am going to clone it and from the actions menu, and I'm going to select my folder and I'm just going to hit save. And then when I'm ready to run it, I'll go to my folders, templates, and then I'll find the folder I saved it to. And I'm going to check the box next to it to select it. And from the actions menu, select new report. So it'll give you some information here. You're going to select your library from a list. I picked Lackawanna for this sample. And they're in 2 different resource sharing agreements. So I wanted to make sure I had some good info to share with you. And then we selected all of the patrons, so you're not checking out material that you checked out to another patron or to another library. And then I'm going to hit next. You don't have to do pivot tables on this one. I really wouldn't, because you're going to be filtering it in Excel. So you'll select your folders and your Excel output. This one's really important. Make sure you check the Excel because you're going to actually download the file. And then save and schedule a report. When it arrives, it is going to be pretty big. So again, it's giving you, because it's giving it for every library here, it's going to give you the call number so you can look for in Excel and narrow it down to just things that start with Juve or just start with easy or whatever. You could also filter and look for items that are just in Juve shelving locations. That's one way to do it. And I have a beta testing option. So for those of you who want to try it, we'll try and it really works best for those who resource share. So this, you would just then, in Excel, download the file and then do some manipulation. If you have questions on that, please let me know. I'm happy to show you how to do it in Excel. I won't bore everyone with it today, but if you do have questions, I'm happy to help. You'll notice when you clone the template from the annual report folder, you'll see there's one that's called a beta template. And this is one that we're testing out where we're using a feature in Evergreen called shelving location group. And what I did was I went through all of Spark and identified all of the shelving locations that are clearly juvenile materials. So your easy shelves, your easy reader, your Spanish easy reader, things like that, and put them in a shelving location group called Spark Juvenile Materials, I think I called it. So as new shelving locations get added to Evergreen, I will have to update the list. But what it does is when I run it, I'll show you the output. What it will do is just give me a total rather than having to go through and filter out in Excel the call numbers for Juve materials or the shelving locations for Juve materials. I can just get a raw number. And what it's doing is it's looking through all of Spark for shelving locations that I have pre-selected on the back end. And it's giving you just the juvenile ones. So like children's library checked out 73,000 items on on juvenile shelving locations. I say it's beta because that Abington Community Library number looks incredibly high. So if you use it, please let me know and we can make sure that you are getting all of the info correct. I just want to make sure I want to make sure I'm clear in the caveat that it is still experimental. So if you have any questions, if you use it, please let me know. So if you do resource share and you run this one and you're like, that seems really bizarre, those numbers, please use it with a grain of caution. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you. All right. So the next two are your interlibrary loans as it relates to resource sharing. You'll still want to use your Share It reports and your OCLC reports to supplement this answer. So if you do resource share in Spark, or excuse me, in Evergreen, but you also use Share It and you also use OCLC, this number that you'll get from these two reports will be one number that you'll add to those other reports. So if you don't resource share, you'll still want to use just your OCLC numbers or your share numbers. All right. So you'll look for, when you're ready to clone the report, you'll go down to the shared folders and look for the username annual report. And you'll click on their name to expand the template folder. And you'll look for the one that's interlibrary loan. And then you have two options, either by the circulating library or the owning library. And this relates to how you've cataloged the items. So not the item who checked it out, but rather the circulating library in the item record. So this again is similar to our count of items. So it depends on how you've cataloged your stuff. Most libraries in Spark will be using the owning library. So I'm going to check that box. And under the actions, I'm going to select clone template. And then I'm going to select my folder. And all I have to do is hit save. And then when I'm ready to run it, I'll go to My Folders, and then I'll go to Templates. Remember, click that down arrow to expand the folder. And I'll go to the folder where I saved it and select the template by clicking on the box. And then I will go to New Report from Actions. And in this one, it gives you some examples of info. You're going to select your libraries. And this one is items provided for 2 other libraries. And then you're going to use Excel to kind of look at transit numbers. So I am going to look at Adams County libraries in this instance. And I'm going to hit next. And I can do pivot labels if I want. I'm going to do testing or whatever folder I decide to save these in. And then remove my email address because I don't want to get emailed, but you may want to. So you can keep yours in there. And I'm going to hit save and schedule a report. And it's a duplicate name. All right. Okay. So I'll wait for my report to run as long as I got that green box that said it saved. And I'm going to look for the one that says F14. There we go. So this one you're going to download. Because it does. Oh, I did do it as a pivot table. Cool. So this is what it'll look like. But what you'll want to do is you'll want to make sure that you're not counting numbers where the destination and the sending library is across the top and the destination, like the who owns the item, is across the top. And then the destinations are down the side. You don't want to count numbers where your number, sorry, matches the one in the middle. Yes, I did run this one with the pivot label. My apologies. I did not say that. So I don't want it where it's Harbaugh to Harbaugh or Gettysburg to Gettysburg because I can't count things that I already own to myself. So you'll just want to go through and remove those before you total everything up. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm not seeing any questions. So again, this is just one number. And then for the flip side, for things that you've received, again, you'll go down to the shared folders and look for the annual report folder. Clicking that little arrow next to their name, you'll look for the one that's the subfolder for 2025 with documentation links. And you'll click the arrow to expand and you'll look for F15. And I ran this one for a library that owns all of its items. So we're going to pick owning on this one just to see the variation. And we're going to do clone template. I'm going to pick my folder. I'm going to hit save, template save. And then when I'm ready to run it, I'm going to go to my folders, templates. Remember, click that down, that arrow to expand the folders. And these are items received, so things I've gotten. And I'm going to check the box. And I'm going to select new report from the options. And then I'm going to pick the libraries. And in this one, did Pike. So I'm going to pick our Pike locations. I'm going to do a pivot table, I think, on this one as well. Or I'm going to do destination and then the transit ID. Okay, and this one you definitely want in Excel. Clean it so I don't get a bunch of emails when I'm done with this. But you can keep yours in. And then I'm going to do report successful. And then I'm going to either wait for my email and click the link or go to the folder where I saved the output. F15. See, when I ran it the first time, I guess I forgot the Excel. So here's an example where here is all of the locations. Probably should have done it the other way because the destinations across the top are a little bit longer than the number of libraries. So in this instance, again, since Dingman is a branch of the Milford or Pike Library, I'm not going to count anything going to Dingman, and I'm not going to count anything going to Milford because you can't count items that you send to yourself. So, and this is looking at holds transits. So things might have gotten transited to Milford from another library because it was previously there. That's why those numbers are appearing. Any questions on F15? The numbers did change for the children's circulation and then the ILL numbers. They went from 12, 13, 14 to 13, 14, 15. So just keep aware of that. We have 2 more reports to run. And then we can open it up. Okay. The last reports are not numeric. Excuse me. Sorry. F13. There's only one number for all juvenile materials. In your example, Tanya, or it depends on which template you ran. Oh, are they all lumped into one question? No, sorry. Question 13 is separate. Yeah, these are all individual questions. If you want, we can look at your output at the end. You can share your screen with us if that's easier. I'll give you a minute to type. Okay. While we're waiting for a reply, I'm just going to quickly go over the last 2. They're not official questions in the annual report. Oh, yes. You're only reporting one total number of items checked out of juvenile materials. So all of your Juve books, all of your Juve. Okay, sorry. My apologies. I misunderstood that question. Yeah, it's one number. It doesn't need to know like how many board books, how many easy books, how many, it's just a grand total. Okay, that was a good question. Thank you. So we have one last folder for non-catalog circulation and in-house use circulation. Now, traditionally, these numbers do not count towards the annual report numbers, but some people use these features within Evergreen to count things that do count. So things like computer use or Wi-Fi use sometimes gets counted in non-catalog circulation count. And I will run that. So this is in, again, shared folders, annual report users folder, and then clicking that down arrow to get to their subfolders, documentation links. And we're going to look for the folder that says non-catalog circulation and in-house use. So the first one is non-catalog circulation count. And you're going to clone the template. You'll select your folder and you'll save it. And then when you're ready to run it, you'll go to My Folders and then the folder you saved it in. So non-circulated count. I think I ran this for all of Spark. But anyway, so we're going to hit New Report. And for this one, you're going to select your library. I ran it for Allspark because I wasn't sure who used it, but you'll pick whatever library you're at. And then next. And you don't have to do a pivot table because there's only 2 columns. And then you'll pick your folders. And you can leave your email in there if you want to get it as an email address or email file. And save. When I'm ready, I'm going to look at my folder. So if I hit the HTML, I'll get that preview. So this is a very big folder, but you'll see some libraries use things that would counter like computer use. You have to count how many people use your computer. So people use the non-catalog search for that. Their computer 1, their computer 2, their laptop use. So depending on if you use these all, you don't have to. These will answer other questions sometimes within the annual report. Conversely, sometimes people use the in-house use for this purpose as well. Some are using it for program statistics. It really relies on staff being vigilant about it. So again, when you want to clone this template, you'll find it in the shared folders, annual report user, and then clicking that down here, it'll get to the 2025 documentation subfolder. And then you'll look for that non-cataloged items in circulation or in-house use folder, and then the non-cataloged in-house use. And you'll clone it and picking your folder and then saving it. And then when you're ready to run it, you'll look for my folders and then your templates and then the folder you saved it in. And you'll do a new report from the actions menu. And then you'll pick your library and hit next. And then, go through the formats, the folders, and then schedule to run. And then when you look at the output, it'll have things like reference questions, how many people have played the games, how many have attended programs for 6 to 11-year-olds. So again, it does require staff to be really vigilant about recording these numbers, but it is a way to do some of the program statistics if you'd like. Again, also using some of those other non-cataloged options like copies and faxes and things like that. So if you're interested in this, please let us know. We can help set those up. But those last 2 are purely if you use those functions. You don't have to run those reports. You might not use them at all. So let me say thank you for attending. We're going to stop the recording for questions and answers. But if you have any issues with templates or need things a little bit modified, depending on how you have things cataloged, just email us at support@sparkpa.org, and we can help you figure out how to best use the template. So Natalie, would you mind stopping the recording?